So very quickly, my name is Dary. I'm from the University of Southampton. My official title is Professional Specialist in Learning Design, but I like to think of myself as a bit of a salesman, snake oil salesman actually for a few people. And my main job is trying to encourage academics to take on game design, playful learning, and at the moment, escape room design in their courses and in their activities. So, brief history, I will make it quick. I didn't start in education, I started in hospitality, running nightclubs in London. I then got a little bit bored, became an ESL teacher, travelled to Turkey where I ended up staying for 4 years, where I was meant to be there for a week's holiday, and worked for this university here called MEF Universitesi. And this university was a little bit special. It was the first fully flipped university in the world. Every single faculty and course used a flipped classroom design. And for some reason they thought I'd be really good at it. So they hired me and I started working for them. And from that I found gamification because of course, as you can tell, I am a massive gamer. I'm not wearing my gaming shirt today. But I just fell in love with this idea. And I thought, do you know what, this would be a great way for me to approach my parents and say, you know, all those days of playing PlayStation, well, I'm actually using it now in education, but also the fact it works. And one thing that slightly infuriates me is that when I approach academics, and this is where the salesman part comes out, I'm often looked at and go, well, you know, I don't play games, you know, what's the point in using this type of activity in higher education especially. So there's a few bits of inspiration. A shout out to Disruptive Media Learning Lab. In fact, they actually helped me to develop, some of you have played that, but in the middle table just there is the activity I'm going to talk about. And their framework for escape room activity design really helped me because that's the first one that I've done. So I would honestly suggest if you're an academic, do have a look at their website, it's really useful. And there's a couple of activities as well. Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes. Again, if you haven't had a chance, give me a shout. I'll get it started on my computer and you can have a go. It's infuriating and really, really makes you angry, but you won't want to stop playing. And I think this is one of the wonderful things about escape room design as well. While there are moments that it is infuriating and it does make you go, oh, I just want to give up, you don't give up. And I quite like that. Another one as well, the Stanley Parables. If you haven't played this game, it's an interactive narrative or storyline, and the game changes depending on the choices you make. As somebody who works for gamification mainly, I think narrative is a very important part of escape room design or activities in general. So, what am I talking about? The activity is called The Revenge of Dr. Moreau. Has anybody read the book, The Island of Dr. Moreau? Yeah, a couple. The idea is this activity is based, or the book is based around animal experimentation. So what I did was I decided to first start with learning aims or learning objectives. And from there I worked backwards, and the narrative actually came last. And the narrative came from what equipment do I have and what kind of case. In fact, the case designed it for me, which was quite nice. Why do I have it? Well, it's a mobile demo. I take this to academics in different faculties, and I basically try to explain to them what is escape room design. And a lot of them go, I've never played an escape room before. And I say, all right, give it a go, and we'll discuss it afterwards. And I found that by giving them this activity, giving them the experience, experiential learning, they actually can understand a little bit better how to design their own game. So it gets them thinking about these alternative learning designs. I also wanted to, because I don't know if anybody's been down to Southampton University. We have 5 different campuses spread around the city, and the only way to get to any of them is via bus. Finding a room is nigh on impossible, and I thought, okay, do you know what? I want to make an activity that fits in a case that I can take to somebody, I can put it on a desk. It doesn't matter if we're in the cafeteria, if we're in a classroom, if we're outside, where the weather is actually quite nice. And they can actually play it. It's completely self-contained. It was pretty, I'm not going to say easy, but it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. I don't know, how many people have played it this morning? A few people. Cool. So as you saw, if you have played it, if you haven't, please have a go. You won't need me to do it, just opening it up. But I warn you, the moment you open it, the timer does start, quite audibly. And everything is within that case. Absolutely everything. And the way that I did this, one, again, by looking at these learning aims, these learning objectives, deciding on the puzzles, and thinking, okay, so how am I going to reach the learning objective of, say, communication? Well, I thought, communication, that's a bit of a difficult one. I want something where they're actually going to talk. So I came up with a maze idea. I don't know why that suddenly came into my head, but I thought, okay, cool, maze. How am I going to make it communicative? Well, I'll blank out parts of these different sides so that you will have to talk to somebody opposite from you. Okay, cool, that's one down. How do I do the next? Well, I want something with research methods. Okay, something about referencing. So, what's the easiest way to do that? Well, create a reference. From that reference, you have to find the data. And it went on like this, on and on through these puzzles. And of course, there were trial and errors. I've played this quite a few times with a lot of different people, and it has changed designs from week to week. In fact, I'll probably play it next week and it'll be completely different again. But that's the wonderful thing again about having these little self-contained things. There's the outside. It was a little bit OTT. This isn't one I would expect academics to do at all, because again, I wanted to make it a bit of a wow factor. They wouldn't let me through the airport with this either, so I have driven up. There's the inside, if you haven't got to play it yet. This whole look was quite important as well. I went back to basically primary school and I got a load of tea bags and I started colouring in the papers. It was those little details that seemed to make quite a big difference. The ripped papers, using string to tie them off instead of using paper clips, because they wouldn't have had paper clips. These little signs, cell 1, you don't have to explain what that is. The students actually make it for themselves, which is quite nice, but it gives you this atmosphere of the narrative. So there it is. It's meant to be for first year undergraduate research methods. That was the learning aim of it. I had to try and make it at least a little bit educational, not just for fun. And debating on animal testing. It's meant to be for 2 to 4 people. The less people you have, the more interactive it becomes and the more in depth these students get into it. I could not make more of these, and I'm never going to, of this one, because it was so intricate and a lot of effort went into it. There is a pre and a post activity. One reflection that I did find was the activity by itself, the students or the academics playing it didn't realise that there was such a strong learning aim behind it. So I found that I had to actually signpost it and say, hey, this is what you're going to learn. And if you've had a go, there is a sheet and it says, these are your learning objectives. I've given everything to the student, told them why they're doing it. I've completely labelled it out for them. And then while they're doing this, they get this little reminder in the back of their head going, oh yeah, I was researching. Oh, that's how I solve the clue. so it starts relating back. Oh, I'm not going to read all of this out, it's just the main one. But again, this is the idea of completely telling students what are they going to do before they do it. Surprise is quite nice, but I really like showing them everything. Again, case was too short by itself. It took a very long time. I spent about 2 days in my workshop, much to the annoyance of my dad. But it was very intriguing. Again, the salesman thing. I take this to the cafeteria in our university quite a lot with somebody else, and I just open it. And this initial opening, you end up going, oh, what's that? What are you doing? Or someone hears this ticking, and they come over, and they get intrigued, and I start talking to them about escape room design. And they go, oh, well, do you know what? I've got a project that I could probably use that in. And what I would suggest to any academics who want to do this, make something maybe a little bit extravagant, a little bit crazy, but show it off in public. Don't keep it to yourself. The more people you get on board with this, the easier it is. The more fun you have, the more people start using it. And the narrative was very, very important, at least for me. Well, 2 reflections, which is quite good. Yeah, that's about it. I'm not going to keep talking on and on and on and on and on. But yeah, please give it a go, give it a try, and design something yourself as well. Thank you.